right, I'm gonna stay on time, hopefully. So 10:37, 10:47, raise your hand, someone, when it's there, so we all get to the next beautiful break. We're talking about how speed wins, and specifically in meetings and events and group section. So anything to do with receiving an RFP, how quickly you respond to it, how it's tracked and traced across the board. Apparently, last edition of this conference, my colleague made everyone to do some kind of an exercise. I'm not going to ask you to do that, but I'm going to ask you now, how many of you actually know how many leads do you receive for meetings and events and groups during a month? Can someone with a pure heart say, calculating all the leads that you receive from different sources, how much that is? Let's do it reversely. How many of you don't know that figure? Raise your hand. Don't be shy. Beautiful. Some actions here. So we're talking about Sonesta here, which is one of our customers in the US. Sonesta International, more than 1,000 hotels globally in US, Latin America, Egypt, and most probably also entering Europe at some point. But how did they achieve 24x revenue growth within 3 months of launching the solution compared to the earlier 3 months of without having a solution? I love this slide, and I'm going to spend the majority of the time here on this talk, on this slide today. This is the situation in majority of meetings and events hotels and group-centric hotels across the board. You have your channels, whether it's offline, direct, indirect, but they all land in the random email boxes. To some extent, it might land into a central email box. But when that central team, the GSO team, the Global Sales Office team, or the NSO team, they might actually just look at the RFP and send it to the individual hotel. The hotel then takes that and puts it into their PMS, the sales and catering, goes to their RMS, spreadsheet, checks the pricing. If they're not lazy, let's say they're efficient, they might put the pricing actually to the sales and catering, or they might go automatically directly to the coding software. And in the coding software, then, whether it's a Word or actually an e-proposal software, they send it to the customer, and that's when I call that the limbo mode starts. Now you used roughly 50 touch points, spend, I don't know, 5 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Some of the apps crash, etc., etc. And it's only the first section of the whole RFP process to get to win a deal. And speed matters. There's a study that if you don't respond to customers in less than 4 hours, you lose more than 50% of your business. It's booked somewhere else, your competitor who was faster. Let me ask you a question. How many of you know how many RFPs come outside of business hours? Let's put some figures. How many of you think it's 10%? 20%? 30%? Anyone? There's 1, 2, 40%? A few in the front? 50 or above? Well, the answer in Europe at the moment is 36% of RFPs come outside of business hours. When does your sales team work? 9 to 5. Normally, the sales in meetings and events and groups are from 9 to 5, maybe a little bit longer days, but anyhow, they're not answering that RFP until the next day that they come back. And again, as a customer, we're talking about guest experience. I send an offer on Saturday. I'm maybe getting my response on Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. Is that about guest experience? Would you wait for any e-commerce shopping that amount of time to get a response? No. So what we did with Sonesta as an example, we started from the scratch. We wanted to understand how many of the leads actually are received by your hotels. Problem 1, it's a franchise organization. They did not even know if their hotels received the email. Do they even have the correct email address? And what happens after? That was the beginning of the journey. Once we put the implementation in place, we focused purely on the fact of centralizing the sales platform. seeing the analog channels, digital channels, how can we get them into one unified sales platform while keeping your corporate tools and your hotel operational tools in place? And in their case, for example, it was all about visibility. Giving the control to the corporate to see where did I receive the booking, where did it land, did my hotel open it, respond to it, did the customer respond to it. Once that was in place, they could actually start improving the processes, connecting the solutions, making live availability, creating AI and automation. But the reality is, if this is still the case today in meetings and events and groups, AI is further ahead. We can add AI into a lot of areas, but we need to solve the basics, meaning having all of these one numbers connected into a central database. Whether it's a central email box, your CRM, your sales platform, whatever it is, to get that in one holistical place. The next thing, to get it from that place to your operational tool. Then getting the revenue attributes and pricing from the other tool into the operational tool again, and sending the quotation. Having this funnel streamlined, while the salesperson can operate here. I'm going to read you here the results that we got. So 500% increase in lead response rate from the earlier period of emails only going back and forward, not knowing. 3% more proposals sent. 60% faster response times, and 24x in revenue. Think about that. Only by caring what is happening in the beginning of the funnel. These numbers don't even include 2, 3, 4, and 5 automation. It was only about making sure our hotels receive them and answer to them. Then we can talk more about how can we actually automate this, because now we have the pieces together. So how we look at it from steps to success is automate the lead routing, ensuring all of the inquiries are captured. Next thing, let's make sure that our sales and hotels are all equipped with modern sales tools. It doesn't mean that if you have a limited service or a full service, they don't need a sales tool. Every hotel needs to have a sales tool. It just needs to be catered for the use case of that hotel, whether it's limited, full service, it only does sports groups, etc. No meeting rooms, but they actually do groups. You still need to be able to track and trace that from a central level. Then connecting the external systems to the sales tools. Like in Mew's presentation and earlier presentation, you need to then have the connectivity layer in place to avoid, again, double entry. Why are we in sales in general lazy? Because we don't want to go to a system to enter the same data that we just saw in another system. That's the reason. And when you start adding those together, people get lazy over time. Enhancing then the brand experience. How many of you on your website today can with a pure heart say that I can make, in a good user experience, my guest journey for meetings and events and groups? Not too many hands. So I think that already proves that we have something to do on that area. Then increasing, and why I do this in this order always, what we say to hotels is, once you get these in this order, you're focusing first on the thing that matters, where you have the volume today, offline. Then you focus centralizing your own operations, because you can create accountability to your people, to your employees, while you do it on your own brand. If you would need to say that, hey, let's only focus on venue directory or C-event, you cannot create accountability because it's not in your own brand. Then let's go and increase the visibility through C-events of the world, venue directories of the world, etc. Getting all of that link into that same funnel. Again, having the same user experience from a supplier perspective means that the end customer gets it at the right time and at the right place. And then finally, once this is in place, monitor, adapt, scale. You have the figures now. It's not a gut feeling. I believe somewhere one of the presentations earlier was talking about data and numbers. Unfortunate situation in meetings and events and groups. When we go through a case study, I haven't seen a single hotel yet who has bulletproof numbers on meetings and events and groups data. Whether it's account-related data, conversion-related data, even the fact that where does your content lie today? Meaning, does everyone know where your meeting room images are or your content of them? And they're tagged correspondingly. A lot of chains have a folder which says, this hotel, and then there's 30 images without any tagging. So you don't even actually know if this room is that room or the other room is the other room. So it comes back to, again, that that side of the pie, which is roughly 20 to 40% of your revenue, meetings and events and groups, if you combine in total, is completely unmanaged. And these are the simple steps that you can start to get there. Not rocket science, but just caring within the organization as such. Lastly, the thing that I showed you earlier, we do exist. We have the pieces powering the likes of Accor, Radisson, Leonardo, Claremont, etc. And I promised I'm not going to pitch about MeetingPackage, so this is the only slide. And take a picture if you want. We're going to be there. My last question for everyone in this room, which one are you? Are we going to sell and fill our rooms, efficiently be ahead of our competitor, or are we going to be that beautiful, smaller snail there? Thank you very much.